Morning everybody, how you guys doing? I am getting ready to put some saws back together. I got to put Buckin's ProMac 850 back together. I got the 922 XL, putting that back together. I'm going to run some stock saws just to get a feel for how they run, make sure there's no air leaks or issues. That's not what we're doing right now though. I wanted to talk to you guys about a problem with this chassis of saw. If you guys own a 61, let's see, 162, 61, 66, 266, 268, 272, you may have experienced this. Now, this chassis, and I'm going to bring you guys in close and show you. This chassis is a full rubber AV mount chassis. They're pretty smooth to run. They tend to be a little soggy. I talk to loggers quite often that have run these, and they all say the same thing. That chassis is great. It's a little soggy. Okay, this is a 32-inch bar on this saw. These were not really built for a bar this long. Now, of course, when we port them, they will pull the living snot out of a bar this long. But now you are exceeding the chassis' ability to handle the load, right? There's 6 AV mounts on these, and there's nothing to stop them from traveling. Here, I'm going to grab something here. On these newer saws, like this 562, this thing's all spring. And like, look, these things move quite a bit, right? But these have limiter straps. Now they have, if you long bar this, it is soggy, but here's the thing, friends. This has a cable, okay, to pull the throttle, okay? With these saws here, and I'm going to show you, the problem with them being soggy is two things. Control. A lot of guys like a stiffer saw with a long bar. The other problem is these have a throttle linkage. I'm going to bring you guys in close and flex the saw and show you guys. Okay, look, I'm going to grab this saw and I'm going to put the bar on the ground. Look. You guys see that? This isn't the worst one I've ever seen, but it is mushy. Now, I'm going to take the top cover off. And I'm wearing a brand new sweatshirt. I'm trying not to get it too dirty. It's cold out today. Thank you, Buckin. He sent me some gear. Now, a fellow like me doesn't have nice clothes generally because the nicer the clothes, the worse the breakdown. You pull down, you're driving down the side of the road and you get a flat tire. Well, you're jumping right in there, right? That's the kind of feller I am, and which means my clothes are often dirty. Okay, let's flip this thing around. Okay, so here's the saw from the left side. Notice the throttle linkage here, okay? So the way this works, there's a shaft that runs through here, and I'm going to show you guys this. We're actually going to pull this saw down, and I'm going to show you guys how to replace the mounts. Most of these, 99% of these saws need new mounts when I get them. Okay, if you're building one of these, order mounts and just replace them. You'll thank me. They tend to tear this mount here and here. Okay, look at the flex. Okay, these mounts here often are ripped. Okay, now the problem is with that. Watch this throttle linkage. Okay, this can become a little dangerous. See how it moves? Now this one's not that bad, but sometimes they will move to the point. It'll start to throttle up when you touch the bar on something. Not the safest thing. If you're limbing and bucking and you're standing up and bucking, right, with this long bar, you touch the tip on there, and this thing can actually throttle up. Now, that can be dangerous with a saw throttling up when you don't want it to. Okay, so notice, look at the movement in this saw. It's quite a bit. Now, like I said, this isn't the worst one I've seen. So, this linkage is nice. It's very direct. It's very smooth. But I think they went away from this style and went to a cable for this reason, okay? And again, if it pulls the throttle, you got a saw revving up that you're not prepared for. That can be unsafe. So what we're going to do is I'm going to rip the bar off this thing, and we're going to tear it down, and we are going to put new mounts in it. I'll show you guys how to do that. Just give me a few minutes here. I'm going to take the bar off and chain, and we'll make this happen. Okay, let's pull the bar and chain off. I was just digging through my 266 parts stash. I was looking for one of these. This goes over the jets. I don't know if you guys can see this. This goes over the jets and the carb. I'm having a really hard time adjusting this carb without that on there. A lot of times guys took them off. The carbs that come on this saw are very easy to get at. Here, I'm just using the part spin here. The carbs that come on this saw are very easy to get at. This one has little tiny wee jets, and it can be a little tricky to get it, especially the high jet. So, okay, so we're going to take this saw apart and get to the mount. So I want to show you guys this. It's not that difficult to do. It seems like a big job, but it's really not. And again, this is a 32-inch full house Oregon EXL. I think we need an outer bar plate on this. This saw really oils, but with this bar on it, it's a little stingy on the oil at times. We'll have to do something about that. Okay. So, you got your power saw here, okay? Now, first thing you want to do is crack the fuel cap. Okay, now take the air filter off. Can you tell I'm a chainsaw wrench? I always use a scrunch to do everything, even though I got good screwdrivers. I got snap-on screwdrivers and I don't even use them. Okay, take off your air filter. Now what you want to do is find a screw. Probably this one will work. Okay. Now this is a brand new fuel line. I knew it wouldn't rip. Typically you want to do this and push it off. Okay. That way, if it's at all old or worn, it'll come off. And then what you want to do is you want to leak a bunch of fuel everywhere because you cracked the cap. Okay. You guys know the deal. You guys have seen this bench. It's stained with the oil of a million power saws. Okay. So, we're going to take out these bolts. I'm just going to get tooled up here and, actually here it is right here. Okay. Be careful when you're taking these in and out. You don't want to strip them. If you do, you'll need a new handle typically. Sometimes you can JB weld or put a piece of string trimmer line. I think Harv, that's a Harv trick. The Iron Horse. I was just yakking with him this morning. Good fellow, that Iron Horse. Good friend to me in this channel. Okay. Undo the top cover. I'm just showing you guys in real time. These saws are so easy to work on. What do you guys think of this pipe? Some of you guys were messaging me and saying that pipe's too open. Maybe. You have to remember, guys, this is a ported saw. This thing moves a ton of air and a ton of fuel. Would that work on a stock saw? I don't know, maybe. But this thing's nasty and it's ported to be nasty. So that mount is spinning. They do that when they start to get real soft. So we'll have to deal with that. This saw moves a lot of fuel and a lot of air. So what typically you're going to do on a saw, a stock saw versus a ported saw are two completely different things. So Buckin gave me some ideas and I did my own thing with kind of within his specs. He's the pipe guy. I never seen a pipe chainsaw until I started watching his channel, and that was years ago. So I thought I'd go with round pipe, and a lot of guys are using square. Being an airflow guy, I know that round outflows square every time, so I just went with what I know, and so far this pipe it's nasty. There we go. Okay, so you got another bolt in the bottom here. There's one here and one there. Let's see how quickly we can do this. This is one thing on these saws, like you kind of got to do it. If you don't, they will tear, and it just, I don't know, they throttle up. The worst part is when you're back barring, you know, when you're cutting up, doing, you know, an underbuck, or you're back barring while falling a tree. What actually happens is you don't get full throttle, because as this pulls down, it pulls the throttle linkage away, and the saw will burble and growl, and that's the most frustrating thing to me. So if you have one of these and you're back barring or underbucking and it's not getting full throttle, it's not the carb being too lean. And I think this mount has ripped since we put the saw together. Here's my mount removers. I've had this problem with saws. You're underbucking and it won't pull full throttle, and this might be a dilly of a pickle here, friends. Yeah. But yeah, you'll think your saw's too rich. It's not too rich. It's that the mounts are no good. I probably Loctited this, knowing me. So, friends, this mount is completely broken now. Okay, and this is good. I'm going to show you guys exactly what happens to these. They all do it at some point. It's rare that I get one in that doesn't have a broken mount, unless somebody's gone through the saw. I mean, it's not a bad design. It's just these things are old. These front ones eat a lot of oil. Let's see if I can do this. Again, guys, we got nothing to hide here. We're just having fun in our shop, on our farm here on the prairies. I was watching Harmless Farmer today. He was fertilizing corn, and it's, you know, and then I look out the window and my neighbor's fertilizing his corn, and I thought it was, you know, such a small world, so far apart but so similar. Okay, pull down. Pull down and back. Okay, there you go. Oh, and I forgot to undo the throttle linkage. Okay, friends, see? Look. Now, these ones weren't too bad, but look, this one, there you go. Completely broken. That was attached and looking good when I put this saw together. Okay, and same thing, this one's real scungy. Okay, so typically these get full of oil, especially this one. These break, and these ones break right here. Okay, these ones typically are in good shape still, but there you go. Okay, so this is something that you guys should do if you're going to build these saws. Okay, I'm going to pause you guys here. I'm going to do some cleaning, and I'll show you how to get them out the way I do it. Okay, I have this pair of pliers that I bent. Okay, now there's two tabs in the mounts. See that slot there, and there's another one there. What I do is I actually slide it in there, and there's actually metal, and then I twist. Okay, you want to do that because if you have to replace mounts and you don't do that, they often will rip when you're installing them, or say you got to take a mount out or whatever you're doing. If you don't use that, these will destroy, and then you'll need mounts either way. Okay, now sometimes they're pretty tight. You don't have to reef these in my experience. Okay, see that? Now they do make a tool for this. I don't have one. As you guys know, I don't have, just a regular fellow like you guys. I know just enough to be dangerous. And living out here on the prairies in the middle of nowhere, you make do with what you got, because you can't run to the city every time you need something. You just can't. You get nothing done. See? Here, I just showed you guys. If you don't get it in there right, okay, I just broke this mount twisting it. Okay, look, boom. There's nothing in the middle there. So, just be aware of that, because these things are very easy to rip. Okay, I'm gonna finish these off, and then I'll start on these ones. Okay, so now you got these ones here. Now these hold your throttle shaft in. Okay, so you kind of, there's actually a, if I remember correctly, there's a rod that goes right through. You don't want to take this whole assembly out. I mean, you can if you're cleaning it or something, but I do these one at a time. Okay, so here's my new mounts. I like showing you guys this stuff. This is stuff I run into all the time. And again, you don't have to reef these in. Just, you know, take her easy on her and just, they won't come out. They're a coarse thread into the plastic of the tank. So again, though, it's super important that you make a tool, or you have a tool to line up with those little grooves, because if you don't, you can damage these installing them. I have before, and it kind of sucks when you... I ordered these quite a while ago, and I was going to do it right away on this build, and I never got them in time. But I figured better safe than sorry, and I'm glad I took this saw apart, because we already ripped them out. And I've only put this thing in the wood twice, so that tells you something. Okay, so just do one side at a time. I'm going to screw these all back together, and we'll put the saw back together and see how stiff it is with new mounts. Okay, here's the last mount. So the two big ones go in the front and the small ones go in the back. Okay, friends, I'm not sure where we left off. I had some issues here. After I swapped these mounts, I tried to rig up. This is a farmer repair. That's not a shot at farmers. Farmers can weld two pieces of steel together with a battery and some cables in a field. I've seen it. This hole is wallowed out. It's oblong. I actually epoxied this when I originally built this saw. It's just not holding. It drips a little bit when you put the tank on its side, and then it won't drip, and then it will. This is better than it was. I thought the tank vent was actually leaking. So I dug through my junk. I have this OEM tank. I know this is a good tank. It's got a little sliver missing there, but no big deal. So I'm gonna swap out the two tanks and continue on with this. I don't want this thing leaking fuel everywhere, so we'll just we'll continuing on. So I'll show you guys how to change the trigger parts. We might as well work that into this video, and we'll keep going from here. I'll hit you guys back up. I'm going to pull the mounts off. These triggers are not fun to change, but this component in here, there's a little spring in there. I'll show you guys all that. So let me disassemble this, and then we'll get back to it. Okay, so the way this works is a shaft that runs through here. So you just want to be careful. Just push it through there, and it'll pop out the other side. Now, often you can pull it. If you can't, just, okay, there you go. Okay, that takes your trigger out. There's a spring on here. Okay, now I already had this apart. I had to modify this assembly just a little bit. I had to bend it over to fit that carb. So now often it's just a matter of finding the right size and shape. Okay, now I am attempting to push this through with an Allen head. Gotta go one size bigger. Okay, now I got the right size. It's coming out through the other side. Okay, Oh, we still got fuel in there. It's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it, eh? Okay, there's that little spring. Now, when you put this back together, you got to hook all these components. Sorry, when you put this back together, you got to hook all these components back in there. Not the funnest task. Okay, so this sits in there. The spring is actually held in place by that cotter pin. So I'm going to fumble with it. I'll try to do it on video and hopefully get you guys a shot. Okay, this spring actually sits in here. Okay, that's what holds this whole assembly in place. You see that? In the handle. So you have to get this in there and drive the pins in. It's difficult. Maybe one of you guys has a way that you do it. I haven't done enough of this repair on this chassis to have like a legit system. Okay, how I do this, I start the pin through there and then try and keep my fat fingers out of the way. I hook this on, okay, to the pin. Now this is not a super strong spring. See, and I already dropped it. It's just hard to get it in there and get this is for the operator presence lever, I think is what they call it. Okay, now I'm gonna hold this in there so you guys can see. One day I'm gonna get a camera person and we can get these shots. Okay, I got that started in there. Now often these pins are broken, missing. Just gonna turn the light off here. Now, here's the deal. You got to slide this in and hook it onto the spring. Okay, I'm going to hold the spring in place here. Again, I cut my teeth working on these saws. These were the saws that I found when I first started working on importing saws. So I've worked on quite a few of them. This is probably the chassis that I work on the most. Sorry, my head got in the way there. Okay, I don't know if you guys see how the spring is in the center groove there. Okay, now let's get this party started. I'm going to slowly twist it down, making sure that there's still tension on it, and hopefully pop this into the hole that's in there. Where's the hole? Often these roll pins are bent, broken, missing. I see that a lot on this chassis. It's just something they do. You ought to remember, these saws took a licking and there you go, and kept on ticking. So they, there you go. Okay, just like that. These saws ran and ran and ran and ran and ran, and it's like they, you know, I mean, often it's frustrating as a saw mechanic, but often, you know, some of these old power saws, they just kept running, and by the time they come in onto my bench, they're just haggard, right? Okay, this here, I'm going to put a little dab of oil. I find when you oil these, it just smooths out the, it just smooths out. Do I got any oil in there? No, I don't. Where's the one full of oil, folks? Does anybody know where I put the bottle full of oil? There she be. When you oil these up, I just find it smoothens out the throttle. Put the spring on there, Tin Man. Right here. Okay. Hook this on there. Now, I'm hoping you guys can see all this. You want to curl the spring around. Can you guys see that? Here's the end of the spring. You want to turn the spring around, okay, and then get this started. Try not to bend it. There you go. Now look how much easier that went in because I oiled it, okay. Yeah, I'm just showing you guys little tips and tricks. There you go. Okay, throttle presence lever works. Okay, the throttle lock. These throttle locks are always a little fiddly. That's just how they are. They get worn. Okay. Yeah, we don't like that. Might have to take it all apart again and refit everything. Yeah, what's going on here, folks? Okay, I'm gonna sort that out. Nothing's done until it works perfectly. That's how this shop is, and that's how I am. Just give me a second here. Okay, I got it back together. Now, these are aftermarket AV mounts. I actually kind of prefer the aftermarket mounts. They're a little bit wider than the stock ones, than the OEM ones that I get. And I find they fit tighter. There's less, it almost puts a little bit of preload on the rubber. They are harder to get in though, so you gotta really make sure that you got all your ducks in a row. This thing is stiff now. Okay, we're gonna hold this. Usually when you have used mounts, they're like a wet noodle. They're just kind of in there. They can be hard to get the bolts off. Hopefully you guys can see this. Yes, you can. Okay, so I tend to Loctite these. They shouldn't come out, but I Loctite pretty much everything on a power saw. So that's just the way I am. Harley Davidson's, right? Loctite. I've used a lot of Loctite in my life, so. See if we can get this in here. There we go. Again, these are new and they're stiff, so when you go to put these bolts in, they do not move. Just want to get them all started. And I'll put the handle on and we can reef on this thing and see, is it stiffer now with new mounts? We hope so. Because a new mount video turned into a tank swap video, rummaging through junk video. So, we're going to pretty much call this done. And again, you want to be careful. You don't want to reef these down because you will actually twist the rubber and tear them often. You got to be really careful with these mounts. They are the weak point of this chassis, in my opinion. Okay, I'm just going to put the handle on. Okay, friends, we have the handle on. Look, I'm flexing the handlebar before I flex the mounts. Okay, look at that. This is one of those repairs. It is so worth the time it takes. And really, if I didn't have to swap the handlebar, this repair would have taken 15 minutes. Just remember, don't over tighten those mounts. Make a tool to get into the little grooves here. Okay, you could cut a piece of metal. I keep saying I'm going to do that, but again, always time constraints with this fella. Always doing something. Busy, busy, busy. Okay, look at that. There's a little bit of movement on this side. Watch in between here, friends. Okay, this thing is stiff now. It's pretty impressive. Okay, friends, that's what I'm doing right now. I have odds and ends. I'm probably going to make a couple more videos on this saw. I did run it the other day with a sharp chain. I'm going to say, friends, I'm not blowing smoke. There's lots of good saw builders out there. For me, I've never built a 70cc saw, especially a short stroke saw. Long stroke's a different story. I've never built a 72cc saw that pulls a 32-inch full house chain like this one does. So, anyhow, friends, I got some odds and ends to finish up, and there we go. We have a new fuel tank. This thing looks way better without all the damage on it. I gotta do something with this choke. It's wanting to pop off, so I gotta deal with that. I have a stiffer AV mount system that's been in my brain I'm going to do another video on that. We got to do some cleanup on this pipe, and then this thing's good to go. Anyhow, friends, I won't keep you any longer. As always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys giving me your time. Keep those emails coming, and be nice to each other. What else can I say? You guys are well behaved. You guys are just good people. It's very rare we get a nasty comment on this channel, and I like that. And if there is one, you guys don't even engage with it. So I appreciate that about all of you. As always, thanks for watching. Take her easy. Later.